Hello, this is Dan Wiener, chairman and co-founder of Advisor Investments, with another of our Advisor You Can Talk To podcasts. Today I've got as my guest Judy Weeden. She's our operations manager here at Advisor Investments and a member of our portfolio review committee. Along with our director of operations, Judy runs a team that watches over all aspects of the daily ins and outs of cash as well as trading at the company. Judy, operations isn't an investment topic, and it certainly doesn't come up much in conversations with our clients or even the run-of-the-mill investor, but it strikes me that what you and your team do is critically important to everything that we do here. Can you give me a flavor of what makes the operations department a critical cog in the wealth management wheel, if you want to call it that, and start off with what you do. What is operations?
Sure, Dan. Thanks for having me, by the way. So operations, what we do is we really support our advisors and other departments internally. We kind of like to think of ourselves as the backbone of the company because we really are relied upon with facts and figures. One of our focuses is really on data integrity. So we spend a lot of time reconciling accounts and ensuring that transactions are really accurate coming from custodians.
So when you talk about reconciling, is that something that happens every day or so it happens once a month? What is that?
It sure does. So we do it daily. Every morning we'll get a file from each of our various custodians. We'll import it into our reporting accounting software. And that's really where we house all our information. And we base our trades from there as well as our quarterly statements and performance.
So what are you looking for? I mean, what comes in a reconciliation report?
Mostly transactions from the previous day. So like if a client decides to withdraw some cash, that transaction will come through. We'll also get position files to ensure that, dollars and shares match what's recorded at the custodian as well.
And all of this is getting checked on a daily basis.
Correct.
How many transactions or requests or checks do you think your team makes in a day or in a week? Or
it's really hard to say. I did go back and look at some stats. Most of the work that we do revolves around trading, and as of right now, we're kind of going upwards of 400,000 trades. And December is a really busy month for us, so we're on path to really surpass that number.
So 400,000 trades, but it should be noted that that's with how many different client accounts?
Over 4,000 clients.
Over 4,000
right.
clients. So it's imperative that the operations department keeps track of every one of those transactions and then double and triple checks it against what's happening out in the marketplace as well.
Correct, yes.
I got it. Okay. Very few wealth managers actually have dedicated operations teams, I guess, because, operations doesn't bring in the revenue. They just protect it. You all, though, as far as I'm concerned, pay for yourself many times over in the protection of our clients and our clients' assets. How does operations, particularly in this day of internet fraud, website scamming, how do you all protect client money?
So first and foremost, what we do is we have a system of checks and balances in place. So every morning we are running audits and doing a trade blotter import, and we're looking for potentially unauthorized trades done by people externally. So we have all user IDs associated with the traders internally. So we look for anything that seems suspicious, and we'll reach out to the advisor, and they will then speak to the client, and we'll also speak to the custodian to see where that trade originated from.
And when you've seen this, I mean, obviously you wouldn't be looking for it if you haven't seen it from time to time. Where does that come from? Is that somebody in the family making a trade that you didn't know about, or is it somebody in the company?
Most of the times it's someone with access to the custodian website. So they'll have their own user ID and they'll log in. If they don't want to bother the advisor with placing a trade, sometimes they'll go in and sell something or buy something that is kind of something that we don't prefer that they do. So we'll just double check to make sure that that's something that they wanted to happen.
So meaning that typically we're making all the transactions in the account, but the owner of the account may go in and make a transaction on their own, or they've got a decision that they've made and they do it without telling us first.
Correct.
And this happens all the time, I presume.
It doesn't happen as frequently as you think, but it does certainly happen. And in those situations, we'll have a conversation with the client, or the advisor will, just ensure that that's a trade that they wanted to place. And we'll have the opportunity to kind of cancel on their behalf if it's something that both parties have decided it's not something.
What kind of cyber protections do we have here, and does the operations team really get involved in? Because that's a huge issue now.
It really is. The operations team's not super involved with that. We do, every time we reach out to our custodians or our clients, we'll use the client portal. Some of our reporting is done through client portal, and we're really having our clients request their quarter-end statements that way, and I think that's ideal versus having it sent through the mail.
I see. So we're doing more electronic communication, but it's double and triple security,
right?
Something like that.
And on the trader side too, we'll have a two-factor authentication at times, so when we log in, they know it's us.
And if someone was going out and looking at wealth managers, asset managers, what's the thing that someone should want to know about an operations team or an operations department within a wealth management company? What's the question you want to ask about either the quality, quantity, or otherwise?
I would want to know, what types of technologies that they have in place, what systems that they use, what their process and procedures are. In the event that there's a data breach or an issue that comes across, like how do they handle it?
And so, well, you know this stuff, but if I'm an investor, what sort of technology am I asking about?
It's a great question. I would say, how are they handling the number of trades that, kind of comes across a person's desk? How are they importing that? How are they ensuring that that's done accurately every single time and consistently?
And what's the answer?
I don't know if I can say what systems we use, but I feel like we've invested in great technology and systems here. We've kind of created, checklists and procedures where we're double checking our work. We're double, triple checking and ensuring that what we're doing makes sense on a monthly basis, or even daily. We're looking at allocations to make sure that, the trades that we've done the prior day is where it should be.
And does this involve more than one person? So one person is checking on another person's work. Is that one way to ensure
that is one
security?
Way. Yes, and that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. And as an expert in operations, what do you think the one thing is, or the two things are that you worry about more than anything else? Because in the end, as you said, operations is really the backbone of the way we operate here. So, what do you worry about in terms of your operations on a day-to-day basis?
What I worry about is ensuring that our team has the proper resources to really function. Just making mistakes that are preventable. Trying to really stay in line with our processes that we have in place. That's one of the main things. I know a lot of firms, or there are some firms out there that don't have the proper resources. They wear multiple hats, so they don't have the time or the resources really dedicated to resolving issues. They're busy putting out fires rather than preventing them.
So it's both the resources but also the processes, right?
Correct, yes.
You need to have the checklists. You need to have an order in which you do things and which you check things so that it's all secure. And in the end, who benefits?
The client.
Absolutely. All right, thank you. This is Dan Wiener, and I want to thank you for listening to another one of our Advisor You Can Talk To podcasts. I've been speaking with Judy Weeden.